Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. In this video I'm going to be claiming S Class Aarav. I have got 2 of his 6 stars nice and maxed out, nice and ready. I need 6 more collectibles, which means 1 more crate. So here we are with the choice crates, and I've got 2, and as you can see there is Wang Far cards in some of them as well, and that's because the daily roadmap gives Wang Far cards. This is why it took me a little bit longer than it could have. I could have probably got it like a couple of days ago at least, because what I started doing was collecting the Wang Far cards from these because I could actually get them, and then from the Tiara roadmap crates, which is this one right here, there's no Wang Far cards for whatever reason, and I was collecting the Aarav cards from there. I was close enough where I was like, I don't have to race. A couple of days isn't going to make a difference, but another 150 Wang Far collections, cards is going to be pretty decent. So I'm going to collect it now, and that's it. That's all we needed. We're going to get him, and I'm really looking forward to using this guy on attack, and I'm probably going to use him on defense for a little bit. He's still pretty dangerous on a defense team, and I have removed him from the collection, so it should pop up, because that's how it works. If you've removed everyone from the collection in terms of like from your team, it should pop up. There we go. There we go. S class. I'm going to click it. It is the S class. It's going to consume the 2 6 stars maxed out, and then it's going to consume the 6k cards. So that's a big consume. It takes a long time to get there. You all know what it's like. And we're going to get this bad boy. Not as bad as this straight off the bat, but we're going to claim this is correct. It is the S class version. Good. Here we go. Claiming. Feels good. Feels good. S Class Aarav. What sort of stats does he? I mean, his stats are 3k attack off the bat. And what we're going to do is we're going to max him out at probably maxed out tier 1. And we're going to just get a good idea of how sort of hard he hits and the sort of teams I'm going to be using him in. Okay, so we do max him out as a tier 1 and just get him into the 2nd tier. He's going to be a level 1 tier 2. And I'm going to get into leveling him mainly with, you got luckies. The first tier on S-Class characters isn't too bad, but after that it gets a little bit, painstaking. The amount of levels you got to get, it's 110, then 130, then 150. So tons of levels. Would use a lot of trainers, a lot of 2 stars to do that, and I much more prefer just slogging them through the you got luckies and maybe getting the odd bit of trainers in them from day to day. In terms of the mods, I'm going to mod him out quite offensively, just pure attack. This character is a pure attack character. His rush, once he rushes, he's going to gain his rush back. And this is actually quite a strange character to mod because there aren't too many things that he can utilize in the auxiliary slots and the wildcard slots, and even in the resist slots, because he's not going to basic attack too often, so he's not going to have to worry too much about stun on defense and impair on defense. He's going to have to maybe worry about things that are on attacks, so for things like stun on attack, taunt on attack, or like taunt rushes, stun rushes, those sort of things. Okay, so these first 2 mods are generally speaking the best way to go with the kind of team I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build him as like a meta Pete defense team, just destroyer, because the Pete's are everywhere. I don't think I come up against a faction in war where 6+ of them aren't Pete's, and even if they haven't got Pete, they've got Raulitos anyway, so it's going to have a lot of reds regardless. So having attack versus red is always good. Now the resistance slot is always questionable, and the thing, like I said before, he's not going to be doing basic attacks too often, so you've got to guess what you're going to do. I think exhaust resist would be actually pretty good, because exhaust means that if he rushes, gains 100% of his AP back. If he's exhausted, he'll take huge amounts of damage. So for instance, if he's exhausted for 300, he would take 3,000 damage, because for every 10% of his AP that he gains, just from like unnatural sources, like not normal basic attacks, if it's from like active skills or from rushes like he is, he would gain 300 damage per 10%, and he's gained 100% back, so that would be 3k. So he wouldn't last very long. That would be like 1 turn. As you can see, he's just got under 3k HP. He will have a little bit more as a maxed out S class, but at the same time, exhaust resist could be a good way to go. There are some other good resists that you could go for, of course, and that could be confuse resist, for instance, because if he gets confused, starts attacking your own team, it can be devastating. He's going to have huge amounts of attack, and he would do a follow-up on your own team as well, so he would attack potentially twice if he did kill somebody. If you're still running 6 stars, he can one-shot those, I would say, quite easily. Another resist you could maybe do would be like impair resist, because like there are impair on attack weapons and impair on attack in terms of rushes. There is stun on attack in terms of rushes. You can do stun rushes and stuff like that. However, I'm going to go with taunt resist, and the reason I'm going to go with taunt resist is I've got a really high percentage one. 71% is pretty decent, but also taunt is I would say quite heavily prevalent, and when you're going to see these princess teams come out, that's a turn 2 taunt on the defense team, so I think she's going to be quite annoying, and I'm hoping that Aarav's going to be the sort of character that's going to destroy her before really she gets going. But if she gets that taunt off, I want Aarav to at least have a good chance of resisting that. Now the last 2 slots are quite hard to go for with Aarav, just because there aren't too many things he can utilize, and there's 2 parts of him as a character. There's his basic attack phase and his rush stage, and that happens with most characters, but they alternate between the 2. You know, they're basic attack, rush, basic attack, rush, whereas Aarav is going to be basic attack, and he's going to be rush. Now most teams won't be able to actually survive multi rushes from him, so it won't last too long after he starts getting his rushes. But his basic attack stages you've got to decide, do you want to boost his basic attack stages, or do you want to boost his rush stages? Now there's not much actually in here that can boost his rush stages, so you can maybe try and think about boosting his survivability, which it boosts obviously everything, or you can try and go for like crit and crit multiplier to try and get those basic attacks to be as huge as possible in the first sort of phase, and then that way you're guaranteeing kills and follow-ups a bit better. And then once he gets into those rushes, while it doesn't utilize that, you're just going to rely on the pure damage that he's going to have as his attack stat, his attack versus the kind of characters that he's going to be, you know, playing with, the extra attack bonuses, that sort of thing. So for this test, I'm actually going to go with crit and crit multiplier, but I probably won't go with that once he's maxed out. I'm mainly doing it so he can get a good idea of the sort of damage output he can do at least. And at best, we'll see once he's maxed out. So these are the final mods I'm going to go for. It's just to try and get Aarav into a situation where he's getting his rush as quickly as possible, hopefully by turn 2. If he gets that follow-up on turn 1, that's great. And then obviously I want him to be rushing reds as heavy as possible. So he's gone up to 4,323 attack. I do believe when he's maxed out with vet rings, it's 4,500. We can just check that out. So it is indeed 4,577. So he's only just behind a maxed out S class character right now in terms of his attack stat. Now, obviously he's not going to get multipliers on those boosts from mods because they come in at the end. The multipliers happen first, then mod bonuses happen last. But he will get up to a reasonable amount of attack. So moving on to the team building side of things, I always like to do this sort of thing where I put in the kind of leaders that I want to use with him on an attack team, and then I can just start building from there. Obviously, he would be in every one of these teams. That's why Aarav is there in all of these teams. But then we've got Carl, who is tough and fast. We have Camilla, who is fast and strong, and then we have Michelle, who is fast and alert. So I'm going to just slowly build out from this, and what I normally do is the first slot in all of these teams, I just put in other S-class characters or other damage dealers that I want to have in these teams. So as you can see, 2 of the teams are looking pretty decent. The top one gets S-class Priya, and the Camilla team gets S-class James, and that's a pretty nice combination. The James one especially, you've got James doing collaterals, potentially weakening characters, and then Aarav can just clean up afterwards. The Priya Aarav team is just more of a bursty destruction team, and they're going to get heavy damage out. By like turn 2, turn 3, they should nuke a team pretty much. Now in the third team with Michelle, I obviously do not have another fast or alert S-class just yet. I'm not sure if I'm really going to go for one in terms of one that would actually work with this team. I've got Raulito on the way, so potentially I could put him in this team, but he isn't great unless you're building an actual proper bleed team in my opinion. But he does have quite a nice active that I think would work well with Aarav. So in the 4th slot, I'm going to be basically putting a disarm into these teams on attack. Still very useful, of course, especially in that top team, because it's mainly going to be coming up against peak teams, which I've seen full stun gun peak teams, so you definitely need to have a disarm. And once Aarav's rushes get going, obviously he doesn't have to basic attack anymore, so less risk there, at least for him as an individual. But there's always going to be the potential risk for Priya because her rush is multi-hit. She'll be able to get stunned with each attack. So this is the best I've got so far when it comes to disarms or active disarms. I obviously need to level up Earl. I did claim him originally, not really needing him, but you never know. With those sort of specialist skills, you never know if you'll ever need them, and he's going to come into some use in my teams here. So that's going to be how I'm going to line things up right now. Now, the last slot is kind of like a wild card slot. It can be kind of anything. It can be someone who buffs, it can be someone who controls, it can be someone who does a lot of different things, and it can also be based on the kind of lineup you're going to come up against or the kind of issues you seem to face with the other 4 characters you've got. So I'm going to kind of assume what I'm going to have issues with, and we're going to see what I can put together. So I went with mainly characters that would help my team deal more damage. This would particularly help Aarav. He is only tier 2 level 1, so he needs that little boost at the moment. He may not in the future, we'll wait and see. But with Javi, I've gone with defense down and attack up. If the 100% attack goes on Priya or Aarav, it's basically game over. That would be huge amounts of damage output, especially on that character that has got defense down. On the second team, we have Bruce Allen Cooper, who has defense up and attack up for his own team. He also has some control on his rush with AP drain, and he can hold a stun on attack weapon and has confused actives. Like, all round, he's a really good character, so just for control and supporting his team. And then in the last team, I am really lucky that obviously I have Alice, but it's unfortunate this is pretty much the only team where Alice and Aarav can work together. And her rush is obviously amazing because focus, bypass shields is going to be very, very useful. So for that last team, as you can see, I am missing a character, and I need to think of either getting an S-class character in the future to support Aarav or bin that team altogether in terms of just not using it. But for the moment, I'm going to put a controlling character in there because that team does lack quite a lot of control. I don't have anyone who can actually, stop them from doing anything except for Michelle, and stun resist is obviously everywhere. So I'm going to put another controller in there and we'll see how useful that's going to be. So I've decided to go for Charlie, obviously one of the better characters that we've had from leagues. He has got taunt on attack, he has got bleed on his rush, so all round pretty useful. And he can bypass shields by himself, but with Alice here, she's not going to be too much of a problem with that sort of thing. And for the moment, what I'm going to also do is I'm going to put Charlie into that first team instead of Earl, because he is not obviously a 6-star. He's not going to last very long in the S-class era as a 5-star, and I definitely need someone who's going to be able to control shields, even just a little bit, even if he gets stunned. If it is an alert shield, I just need someone to be able to control shields just for at least one turn. So we're just going to do a test raid with each of these teams just to see what they're like. None of the S-class characters are actually maxed out in these teams, so definitely the strength of these are going to get better. And I have to start thinking or working towards more utility characters in the 6-star slots if they ever become available. So first up, we'll raid with the Carl team, and then the Camilla team, and then the Michelle team. So we have an S-class team here, and it is a fairly strong one, if I'm honest, in terms of just lots of S-class characters by the looks of things. And it's only 3. It's only 3. It's not as bad. It's not as bad. We haven't got a disarm, so that is an issue. But it's not too much of an issue overall. It's not too much of an issue. The issue is we have to deal with Pete. He's the only issue, really. Oh my god, he's got 9k defense. So now he's got 4.5k defense. But it's still going to be a lot. I'm not sure. I think that I've got... I'm not... We'll see. I think I've got taunt here. Yes. Oh no, I did AP drain. Okay, that works too. It's hard to know if you've got the taunt. I assumed I did because his specialist skill is not lit up. I'm not really sure how it works. It's kind of messed up for me, if I'm honest. Okay, we're not going to kill these ones, I don't think. I might be able to kill Krista because she's defense downs. Yeah. Okay. Well, that didn't turn out too badly. But I think we definitely need some more control. Charlie is okay. Once I get Princess, it'll be much better. So that team was okay. I think, obviously, I need a bit more control. The best idea would be having Harper and then having Princess as the last 2 characters. I'm going to get Princess eventually, but I definitely need to level up this team. I haven't even maxed out Priya in this region. She's very close. Once I get vet rings on these characters, their damage output will be obviously massively increased. You see on my attacks, Priya's massively focused by everybody always. The AI issues are still in place, but it's just less obvious because S-class characters are getting focused and they're very, very tanky. But the AI issues are a big deal still, and it's going to be more of a problem in a couple of months when S-class characters are everywhere it's going to stand out a lot more. And I mean, hopefully they come back and actually fix it, because it's been an issue since the original air quotes fix that they put in with the AI, and it's just terrible if I'm honest. So next up, we are going to use the Mele team and see what we can find. So it's actually quite hard to find a team that a Mele team is good against. With this second team, it's pretty much just Lydia teams or maybe Lao Po teams. You are going to take some trait damage there, especially if they got James. That's going to be an issue on the defense teams. But this shouldn't be too much of a problem, but it's just going to give us a good idea in terms of how the team works together. I have a reasonable amount of control on this team. I did realize that the other teams, what I lack is control to a certain extent. So we're doing a little bit better in that case here. And we're not going to get the attack buff off, which is kind of what I wanted to see, if I'm honest. But it doesn't look like we're going to need it by the looks of things. But yeah, that's what Aarav's there for. Tier 2, level 1 Aarav, just smashing. So that team worked okay. Obviously, it wasn't against any S-class characters. But there aren't too many teams that I'm going to be using this against, if I'm honest, if I was to use it. It's mainly going to be that Carl team. But we'll try the last team, which is going to be the team I use probably the least overall. And it's the weakest of them all, if I'm honest. It's only got one S-class character, and it's Aarav, who's nowhere near leveled up. But yeah, there aren't too many Eric defense teams at the moment. And Eric defense teams I can probably nuke with a normal team rather than having to actually do like a proper counter team. So it's genuinely hard to find Eric teams that don't have massive amounts of off trait, and it's the same situation here. Loads of off trait characters. I'm just going to attack it though, because I'm tired of searching. And we're going to see if we can get through it. We are going to get the AP drain on Alice, which is pretty much just destroyed the idea of the team. Just straight away. Just like that. Just like that. Thanks, game. Appreciate it. Okay. Stun you two. We stun the other two? We do not. We do not. No big deal. No big deal. Wow. He did more damage to her than him. Okay. We're gonna taunt you. Yeah. That's what I like to see. There we go. We get the damage now. What sort of damage we're talking about? This is pretty nice. It's getting, that got blocked by tenacity. So that wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. The issue with this team and what I'm going to find going forward is that there's not many teams that it's going to be useful against unless, you know, a blue-green leader comes out. You know, I think there is one actually out. Wang Fa, so potentially it could work against Wang Fa defense teams. I'd probably have to upgrade certain positions. I do not like the fact that Piper and Charlie are in there. I mean, I desperately need Hopper. Hopper would obviously be useful for all of these teams, and that would make a massive difference. Defense down is huge. I didn't get her in the RNG wheel, you know, the war wheel. I got Mike, I believe, on this region. I could have got Diego, would have been decent as well. So yeah, there are characters that can still improve this team. Hopefully they become available. They are massively blocked off on some of these 6-star characters at the moment, so we'll see what happens in the future. So Aarav obviously is a really strong character. I'm looking forward to leveling him up. He will be max within the next couple of weeks. He is the focus now that Preya is pretty much there. He's going to get all the gear. I've got all the gear available. I think I'm low on GPS and canteens, but I think I have some crates, and he's going to get the vet rings, which I have already available. Vet rings are going to go on Preya as well. I've got quite a few saved up because I was saving up for my S-Class characters pretty much, and I'm looking forward to using him maxed out. I think he's going to be a beast, and he should get massive amounts of attack stat, and that'll make a massive difference for him to be able to pick up that follow-up. Those rushes would just be next level. I'm going to have to think about how I'm going to upgrade his weapon. There was a big debate on my stream about how to upgrade his weapon. Attack stat is obvious, but it's about the AP on attack. It's about that 4 slot. How much do you need? What do you want to go for? That sort of things. But I'll think about it. But what about you guys? Are you going for Aarav? Have you got him already? Do give me some thoughts on Aarav if you have any. Otherwise, what character are you currently going for in the S-Class era? Are you partway there? Are you close? Do give me your thoughts. Any comments, please leave them below. But that is the end of my video. Thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.